All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Picture this. You've just dropped hundreds of dollars on a brand new aquarium setup. You've carefully arranged the substrate, picked out these gorgeous plants, and you're envisioning this crystal clear underwater paradise. But then, fast forward just a few weeks, and that dream turns into a murky green swamp. The plants are melting, the algae is everywhere, and your fish are totally stressed out. Look, if you've ever experienced that classic beginner heartbreak, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to turn that frustration around. We're breaking down exactly how to build a stunning, natural planted aquarium without all those early headaches. So I want to start by asking a really crucial question. Why do most planted tanks fail in exactly 30 days? Seriously, it's an incredibly frustrating reality and a massive mystery for a lot of newcomers. You set everything up, the water is pristine on day 1, and by week 4, it's just a complete disaster. Well, here's the secret. It's almost never bad technique or a lack of care that kills a tank in that first month. It's actually something way more subtle, just kind of lurking right beneath the surface.
Most of these early failures actually come down to totally invisible, easily avoidable errors. We're talking about unintentionally suffocating a plant's stem right at the source, or putting rocks in your tank that silently spike your water chemistry, leaving you completely scratching your head as to why your fish are suddenly struggling. By the end of this explainer, you're going to be absolutely bulletproof against these invisible mistakes. You'll know exactly how to avoid these common traps so your tank actually thrives from day 1 to day 1000. We're going to get the fundamentals right from the jump.
Okay, let's move into section 1, nature's perfect partnership. Think about wild rivers and streams for a second. Aquatic plants don't just float around aimlessly, right? They anchor to, grow around, and find shelter between rock formations. Combining hard structures like rocks with soft plants builds this self-sustaining microenvironment that actually does most of the heavy lifting for you. Rocks give plants a rock-solid surface to grip onto against the water current. They also create these wonderful shaded microclimates. The shadows cast by the stones give lower light species like moss exactly what they need to thrive without burning up. Meanwhile, the plant roots literally lock everything in place, stabilizing your substrate against the flow so your landscape doesn't wash away. And for the fish, this combo is a game changer. Instead of a bare box where dominant fish just bully everyone else, the rocks and plants break up lines of sight. It dramatically reduces aggression. It's just a brilliant, natural win-win all around. Moving on to section 2, choosing the right rocks. Now, the very foundation of your tank, the rocks you choose can literally make or break the whole system before a single drop of water even goes in. There's a great insight from TankZen that perfectly highlights a massive myth in the hobby. They note that the wrong rock can silently raise your pH and hardness for weeks before you even notice. You simply cannot grab any cool-looking rock from your backyard, or even an unlabeled one from a pet store, without knowing its chemical makeup. If a rock contains calcium carbonate, it's going to slowly dissolve into the water. And that disrupts the osmoregulation of softwater fish, like your tetras or rasboras, causing chronic, invisible stress that eventually leads to disease. So you're probably wondering, how do you know if a rock is safe? Well, you use a brilliant little insider secret called the vinegar test. It's fast, it's free, and it's incredibly empowering. You literally just drop a little bit of standard white kitchen vinegar right onto a dry rock. If it fizzes or bubbles even slightly, it contains those dangerous carbonate minerals. If you're building a lush, soft water planted tank, you absolutely must avoid any rocks that fizz. It's a super simple DIY chemistry check, but it will save you months of headache down the line. To give you a better idea of what to look for, let's compare the two main types. You want inert rocks, things like dragonstone, sometimes called okostone, and lava rock. These are amazing choices because they do not alter your pH at all. Plus, dragonstone is incredibly porous. All those tiny holes act like a massive biological filter, housing millions of good bacteria that keep your water crystal clean. On the flip side, pH-raising stones, like Searyu or limestone, will actively harden your water. Those are really only meant for specialized hardwater fish like African cichlids. For your planted setups, stick strictly to the inert, non-fizzing rocks. Let's hit section 3, plants that grip. Now that we've got the right rocks, we aren't just going to go planting things in the dirt. We're using plants that actually thrive right on the stone itself. But first, you absolutely have to understand the rhizome. Think of the rhizome as the true heart of the plant. It's this thick, horizontal stem where the actual roots and leaves grow from. Burying this rhizome is the single most common beginner error out there, and it causes expensive plants to just rot and die. Why? Because the rhizome needs constant water flow over it to exchange gases and absorb nutrients. If you bury that thick stem deep under heavy gravel or suffocating aqua soil, it literally chokes, rots, and the whole plant just falls apart. So, instead of burying them, you're going to choose from a fantastic roster of hardy, slow-growing plants that naturally attach directly to the rocks. Java fern is perfect. It loves low to medium light and needs almost zero effort. Anubias, with its gorgeous, dark, leathery leaves, is virtually indestructible. Seriously, it's the ultimate confidence builder for beginners. Java moss is fantastic if you want to create a fuzzy little playground for freshwater shrimp. Bucephalandra gives you these gorgeous, tiny, colorful leaves that almost sparkle underwater. And Christmas moss, it grows in these stunning, dense branch-like mats. All of these plants respect the rock structure you've built. They gently hug the stone instead of swallowing it whole like those fast-growing stem plants tend to do. Okay, but how do you actually get them to stay put? Here is a phenomenal trick. Attach your plants directly to the rocks using cyanoacrylate superglue gel. I know. For a beginner, the idea of squeezing chemical superglue into a delicate ecosystem sounds absolutely terrifying. But let me reassure you, it is completely 100% fish safe. Cyanoacrylate cures almost instantly the second it touches water, rendering it completely inert and harmless. You just dab a tiny bit of gel onto the rock, press the plant's rhizome against it for a few seconds, and bam, you're done. Within 3 to 4 weeks, the plant's own roots are going to grow out and naturally grip the stone surface, creating a permanent bond. Moving into section 4, the golden ratio setup. We're going to use an iwagumi-inspired approach here. It's this beautiful, minimalist style using bold rock formations, and it works wonderfully for literally anyone. You want to plan your entire layout dry on a tabletop first, or inside your empty tank, following a really simple blueprint. First, rinse all your rocks in hot water. Never, ever use soap. The chemical residue is incredibly toxic to fish. Then, add 2 to 3 inches of plant substrate to the bottom. Place your focal rock, and then glue your rhizome plants onto the rocks completely before filling the tank with water. I cannot stress this enough. Doing a dry start like this saves you from the muddy, frustrating, hair-pulling mess of trying to glue slippery plants onto wet, heavy rocks underwater. Now, visually, the real secret to making this look like a genuine slice of a wild riverbed is the golden ratio. You want to place your main, largest focal rock exactly 1/3 of the way from either the left or right edge. Never, ever center your main stone. When you place a rock dead center, the tank immediately looks staged. It looks artificial, kind of like an uncomfortable museum exhibit. But using the golden ratio, that 1/3 mark, draws the eye naturally across the entire tank. It mimics the beautiful, asymmetric chaos of nature, creating instant tension and visual depth.
All right, section 5, avoiding common tank disasters.
To make sure your beautiful new ecosystem actually thrives past that dangerous 30-day window we talked about, let's lock in a couple of critical numbers. Remember this first one, 30%. Your rocks should cover a maximum of 30% of your tank's floor space. Look, I know the feeling of hardscape greed. It is so incredibly tempting to buy just one more cool rock at the local fish store, but cramming your tank with too much stone absolutely dooms your water circulation. It leaves zero room for plant roots to develop, it creates these dead spots where debris just sits and rots, and it removes safe swimming space for your fish. Keep the hardscape to 30%. It gives you a perfect, breathable balance. And here's your next vital number, 4 to 6. That is the number of weeks you absolutely must wait for the nitrogen cycle to complete before adding a single fish. For beginners, the nitrogen cycle is just the invisible process of beneficial bacteria slowly growing inside your filter and on those porous rocks we talked about. These bacteria are absolutely essential because they literally eat the toxic ammonia produced by fish waste. If you skip this waiting period and just rush to add fish, you are going to get deadly ammonia spikes. It'll burn your fish's gills, melt your expensive plants, and trigger massive, uncontrollable algae blooms. Just be patient for those 4 to 6 weeks. I promise you, it pays off. The best part? Once the tank is cycled and established, you shift into this amazing, low-effort, long-term maintenance routine. Contrast this with the absolute nightmare of scrubbing algae off the glass every single day. In a balanced system like this, you just run your lights on a timer for 8 to 10 hours a day. You do a simple 25 to 30% water change once a week. And hey, if you get a little spot algae on your rocks, nature has a fix for that too. Just add a small bristlenose pleco or a few neurite snails. They'll graze the rock surfaces constantly without disturbing your delicate plants. And the ultimate lifestyle benefit of this natural rock setup, you really only need to rescape or do any heavy maintenance every 1 to 2 years. So, are you feeling inspired to build your own? For the absolute complete breakdown, you definitely want to head over to the TankZen blog at tankzen.co/blog. They have some amazing, highly detailed resources waiting for you. You'll find exact lighting wattage guides, foolproof plant combinations, and step-by-step gear recommendations to help you navigate around every single beginner's trap. It is literally the ultimate roadmap for getting this exactly right on your very first try. Knowing exactly how rocks, plants, and beneficial bacteria perfectly harmonize together, what kind of world are you going to build? Will your next tank be just a simple, sterile glass box? Or will it be a thriving, self-sustaining piece of nature sitting right there in your living room? The power to play Mother Nature is completely in your hands. And now you've got the blueprint to make it happen. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.